Well, this year we decided to introduce you to the leadership roles, and those are positions that make our organization work. And while we're talking about specifically the conference, these same positions exist at the district and local unit levels. So having a resource book that gives me guidance about what the role is and what's important to the role and all of that's important, certainly as a resource as we move along to be able to refer back to that. But for me, hearing from a person who has actually held a position and can speak from their experience about what a position actually entails and to whom I can ask questions works best for helping me allay any concerns that I might have about leadership and whether or not I can do the job, particularly if something that I think I have an interest in. And I will tell you that none of the women that you're going to hear from today are super women. Super women in the sense of the DC comic book. Although, having worked with them for these last four years, many of them, I will tell you that they are super to work with. So, in that sense, I guess they are super women. But like you, we were all just members. And who, like you, we amassed a lot of skills just being mothers and being involved with the PTO or kids' sports activities, our homemakers and women in the workforce, and of course, all the many ways that women gain life skills. And that is what we've brought to those positions. And we just decided that when there was a need that we would bring those skills, our strengths and our weaknesses and our apprehension about leadership and whether or not we could do the job. And with the support of one another, we succeeded. And so that's really what today is all about. You'll hear from leadership what their title is, what their job entails, what skills they need, skills you need for the job, or what skills they brought to the job. Um, and again, most of the skills that we're talking about are just things that you gain just from the course of being women and all the many things that women do, all the many hats that we wear. What major events and activities are associated with each one of the positions, so what they're responsible for, what kind of time commitment is required, and whether or not the role can be done with someone else, like Stacy and I did. We kind of modeled this. My friend Stacy Moore, she and I decided to become co-VPs, and we've had a wonderful time because there's always a story behind stuff, and that you share kind of the inside of it, and and that makes it fun. Um, and they're going to offer you an opportunity to shadow if you have a particular interest in something. And it may not be in the entire role, right? It may just be doing a one-off. So, I mean, there's that need too. So our leadership structure has changed. In 2026, there are only 5 positions that are required. So it's the president, the treasurer, the secretary, the communications coordinator, and the chairperson on committee and nominations. So you're going to hear from those folks first, and then you'll hear from the other positions like VP, who are no longer required, and I refer to those as ancillary positions. But they're going to share about our roles as well. And I will say that even though those ancillary positions or roles are no longer required, the tasks that they do are still important and are going to be necessary and have to be done. And so the conference, the district, and even the local units still have to figure out a way to get those things done. And so there's going to be a need for folks who'll step up and do those tasks. So as you listen to the roles and the responsibilities, you might ask yourself, if I can't do the entire role, is there some task that's associated with that role that I can do as a one-off activity to support the conference, my district, or my local unit? And after you hear from leadership, we're going to open it up for questions. So as we go along and you're hearing some of these activities and you think they might have a little bit of an interest in them, jot down some questions or put some things in the chat. And then at the conclusion, when we have our 10 minutes of open dialogue, you'll be able to ask those questions, and Jackie will refer to the chat to make sure that we address anything that's been put in the chat. So now we're ready to start our session. So I'm going to ask Cheryl Wilson, our spiritual growth coordinator, to open our session in prayer. And then you'll hear from our leadership team, starting with our president, LaDonna Weber. Cheryl.
Sisters, will you pray with me, please? Gracious, loving God, we invite you to be part of our gathering today. We thank you for calling each and every person who's on this Zoom and others involved in our ministry to be part of the work to serve you through United Women in Faith. Give us your heart for justice and your heart for mercy in a world where so many are hurting. Father, as we prepare for 2026, we ask you to raise up women to fill open spots on the conference and the district teams. This is your work, and we thank you for your continued faithfulness to us. Keep our eyes always on you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And now we'll start our discussion on our roles, our introduction of our leadership team roles. LaDonna.
Thank you, Sheree. So I'm LaDonna Weber, and I'm the conference president. And then I have to tell you what I do in that role. Well, kind of a little of everything. The trick with being president, I've discovered after 2 years, is to remember that the president shouldn't be doing everything. The president should be making sure everything gets done. So there's a little loss of control, which some of us who, may have a little problem with trying to be in control of everything. You kind of have to let things go. You have to trust your team to do what they're supposed to do. But an interesting part of the conference president, and to some extent the district president, is you're the representative of United Women in Faith to the conference or the district, or if you're a local president, to the church. So you have to make sure that United Women in Faith is represented. So as conference president, I'm also on the United Methodist Church annual conference nominations team. I'm on the coordinating committee. I don't know, I got a bunch of other things too. But I'm the kind of conduit between the annual conference, the church, and United Women in Faith. The district president would do the same thing, sort of be the connection to the district organization. Now, the thing also to remember is we're no longer strictly United Methodist. We have members who are part of another faith denomination. So that's where that whole name change came in. The president has to see the big picture. Again, making sure everything gets done, but also making sure all the threads come together. There's lots of tools to help do that. The national organization has all sorts of resources, either primarily online, but there are also printed things, and you have to keep track of what all that is. The national organization also helps you. The presidents have quarterly meetings. So you sit in a Zoom meeting and you find out what's going on in California or what's going on in Georgia or wherever. So you're gathering information that you may be able to use locally. So it's to me, the job of president is all that sort of sifting and connecting and just making sure the purpose is fulfilled. And that's what we do. I don't know. It would be interesting. I've watched Sheree and Stacy over the last couple of years work together as co-vice presidents. I don't know how a president would work it might be a little confusing, but it could be done, I assume, especially at the local level. I don't know about the conference level, whether you could do that or not. But the thing to remember at all levels is there are resources and tools, and you also have to do it your own way. But you also don't have to do the whole thing. You have a team, and it's important to create that team and use that team. So I don't know about the whole co-president. I think it could work, but I don't know because I've never tried it. So as far as the amount of time, I don't know, depends on whether you count the 3 a.m. waking up and worrying about something. That happened last night. Some of it is, we do a lot now electronically, at all levels. Part of it is money saving, part of it is simply we can, and that's the way life runs these days. So there's a lot of, or at least I try to make sure I don't get impatient about answers. That when I send out an email, I know that not everybody sits with their email software open all the time. But again, it's that, keeping track of things, making sure things get done, but you don't have to do them. You just have to provide the information so that it gets done. What else did she have? The whole time commitment. I don't know. It seems like some weeks all I do is be president of United Women in Faith, and then for a while nothing happens. So it depends on where we are in the annual schedule and what's coming up, and what's needed, what's on the horizon. What makes my role interesting, or well, interesting is seeing all the different ways local units do United Women in Faith. It's really quite fascinating. Somebody will email me and ask, well, should we be doing this or should we be doing that? And a light bulb goes on in my head and I say, oh, well, why haven't we thought of that before? So there's lots of different ways to do United Women in Faith. And being president, you kind of have to hold all of that intention and make sure it's on track. So that's what I got. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And if not, we'll move along, Sheree. You got to put yourself off mute. There you go.
Yeah, I apologize. So our next one, I believe, is our secretary.
Good morning. So we're gathered here today to celebrate LaDonna's birthday. So a heck of a birthday celebration for LaDonna, right? But give her a thumbs up, okay, for her birthday. All right. So I'm Kathy Burris, and I am delighted to share a bit about my role as the conference secretary. I've written down some notes, so I won't ramble, and I'll make good use of my 7 minutes. So the role of conference secretary sits at the heart of how we stay connected, informed, and aligned with our mission. I've been in the role of conference secretary for 2 years now. Previously, I've served as the conference president and the mission coordinator for social action. So the secretary's position is both administrative and relational, meaning that not only do you take the minutes and keep the books and the records, but you relate to the other conference officers and to the and to your counterparts at all levels, both the district and the local level. And so it's a great deal of the work is relational, not just the minute keeping. And so you maybe spend more time doing that than the actual administrative part of the position. Some of the key responsibilities, maintaining accurate records. So you're the official record keeper. Keep the minutes of the meetings. Those meetings can be the conference leadership team meeting, the Mission U team meetings, planning committee, finance committee, and other committees, including the Standing Rules Committee, which as as we are organized, the secretary is the chairperson of the Standing Rules Committee as well. Another part of the position is managing correspondence. We don't have a great deal of correspondence, but we do communicate with district officers, national office, and other conference leaders. Maintaining the directory. We are blessed to have Barb McCoy, who has graciously offered her services for the last several years, I don't know how many years, as the directory coordinator. And she does most of that work, but we collaborate together to get the work done. So there are ways in terms of, as we say, sharing responsibilities. That's something that Barb enjoys. And so, we collaborate to get that work done. It would probably overwhelm me to be honest about it, putting the directory together, because it's not so much putting it together, the administrative part of it, but again, the relational part, getting people to submit the information for the directory. So, but that is one of the responsibilities under our current organizational structure that that falls to the secretary. It could be that it falls to the communications person, but that makes, I guess that would have to be worked out within your team. Another responsibility, supporting the president and the team, assisting in preparing agendas or meeting notices or reports, document retention, ensuring that records are properly archived and passed on during the transitions from one position to the next. And we have to, every quad, we send our records to archives. So that's part of the position. AI has been interesting as relates to note-taking from meetings. My brief statement about that is that it's useful, but not necessarily something that you can rely on 100%. It's sometimes interesting how AI interprets what happens in meetings, because it can misinterpret sarcasm, which some of us have a gift for, the use of jargon or nuanced discussions. And so sometimes the summaries can be inaccurate, but it's been interesting. So I know that it's a useful tool, but it's not something that we can rely on totally. Relationship with other team members. The conference secretary relates to the district secretary mostly. And the district secretary is the contact and the liaison for the local secretaries. District secretaries provide resources, training, and guidance for the local secretaries. We don't, as the conference secretary, we don't maintain the unit member roster, but the district secretaries may have that responsibility to have rosters of the local units, and then they can share that information with the conference secretary. We also have responsibility to share our leadership team roster with the district secretary should share the leadership team roster with the conference secretary. And again, then the local would share the rosters and that needs to be done within 10 days of the annual meeting. That's a requirement in the handbook. That was a change because it didn't specify a time period before, but it should be within 10 days of the annual meeting. And that's for the purpose of National being able to send out information. So for leadership development and other things that are important to your role. We compiled the year-end reports and I don't know that we actually have a deadline. LaDonna, do we have a deadline for any year-end reports?
Not within the organization. There's a end of the year report that goes to the annual conference, but that's due like in April or something. But the president takes care of that.
Right. But any year-end reports that are required, you may have to some involvement in putting those together and then again keeping them in the official records. In terms of other relationships, you may or may not be the person that provides notice of meeting dates and times. That again depends on how you're organized to do that. LaDonna normally does that at the conference level. Attend meetings and distribute minutes. Add your voice. Draft communication on behalf of the leadership team. Support the fiduciary role of the finance committee. Review reports, make recommendations, again, that relates to the finance committee, and participate in the budget process. So you're basically connecting with everyone that's a part of the leadership team at all levels. So the strength of the role depends on collaboration and clear communication. We serve best when we serve together. So you're not alone in the work that we do. There are great tools and great people to help. Some of the resources, the handbook, which is available to us all. The leadership toolkit that's online, and it has some downloadable forms and training materials and templates. Other members of the conference leadership team are supportive, especially the president and the communications coordinator who can offer guidance and share updates. United Women in Faith Digital has a number of resources, excellent resources actually for the conference secretary specifically. There is a group under there, and it has on there a number of key resources, including minutes, and there's actually a secretary's handbook, and it's a very, very useful tool. National office holds conference secretary meetings quarterly, and so we just had a quarterly meeting. From that, I learned that there will be a training in January for conference secretaries. So there will be that opportunity to get some training. And there's other support in terms of district secretaries, past conference officers, your regional leadership team, and they can all be great supportive people and mentors and sounding boards. Time commitment. It varies depending on the season that we're in. I would say maybe average maybe 4 to 6 hours per month. but it could be more than that during times of reporting or annual meetings or directory compilation. You are expected to attend the conference leadership team meetings. That's vital. Those are usually quarterly. Various committee meetings, Mission U, as well as the spiritual growth retreat. Ongoing, respond to emails, keep records current, and prepare reports. Other meetings and events, the district executive committee meetings, and your district annual meeting. And the conference will reimburse you for travel and other expenses related to the jobs according to the standing rules. Sometimes overnight stays may be necessary. So understand that may be something that is an expectation. So it's somewhat can sound somewhat overwhelming, but it's manageable if you stay organized and use the tools that are available. And consistency is the key. Kind of if you fall behind, then as with other things, playing catch up is kind of difficult. So just staying on top. Some knowledge and skills, understanding of the purpose and goals and organizational structure of United Women in Faith. Some administrative and organizational skills, organizing files, records, minutes, and reports. Communication skills, writing correspondence, communication with other officers, district secretaries, and others. Technology proficiency. I don't have great technology proficiency, but I'm a willing learner. So those things that I don't do well, I kind of take my time and try to find those resource people that can show me the way. So just as I'm getting better at it, it's time for my term to be over. Using word processing, email, and virtual meeting platforms, maintaining digital or physical files in an organized and accessible manner. And you can kind of set up your own system, what works for you. What worked for me may not work for the next person, but you find your own system for maintaining the files and keeping them organized. I'm from that paper generation. And so that's why I got paper in front of me now. But it doesn't, I know that for my son, he thinks it's ridiculous the amount of paper that I have around here. But I do what works for me. And so in terms of, we talked about at the conference secretaries meeting, we talked about, when we pass on files to for those of us that are leaving office, when we pass on files to our successor, should we, do it digitally or do we hand them those, boxes and boxes of files that have been passed on to us? I plan to do it on a thumb drive. I've kind of that's what works for me, but again, collaboration and teamwork. And I just close by saying that you, as the secretary, are helping to preserve the legacy of United Women in Faith and keeping us connected for the work ahead of us. That's all I got.
Thank you, Kathy. And so we'll move on to our treasurer.
Hello, my name is Carla Gillespie, and my position is annual conference treasurer. And I would just like to say that was a beautiful description of all of the kinds of things that we have to do, each one of us as a officer. And so keep in mind a great deal of the things that Kathy Burns said because there's no need for me to repeat her since she did such an eloquent job. The specific role that I have involves the finances of the organizational on the conference level. And so underneath are 10 districts, and then under the districts are local treasurers. And so all of the activity that they have to involve themselves in with their accounts comes up the ladder to me. I maintain the accounts. There are accounts for the scholarship fund and Mission U, although Mission U has their own accounts. So it's complicated. If you really want to know a lot of detail, we could just talk, because there's just no way I can talk about all of it. But the main role is to manage the giving and the national giving, and I'm on every committee of the organization. And so I have to be involved in Lucille Raines on some level, Mission U, youth and young adult, the scholarships, all the types of offerings. I'm trying to look at my notes here. So for instance, when the first retreat, people have to come to that are on team. And so arrangements have to be made. There's close coordination with the vice president, who does the scheduling and the planning. And so when the planning is done, it's like, okay, this is where we're going, and this is what we have to pay, what's been negotiated. And she'll let me know what that is, and I pay those people. I get the deposits together. If there's any other documentation that has to be done with the event, that has to be acquired, and there could be numerous things. So I won't even try to name those things. And then managing the giving that's done on the district and local level. The checks are sent to me so I can deposit them and put them in the national database. There's another database, Quicken, to check things and double check things to make sure that they're matching the bank account. So I get a lot of emails. Sometimes I get a whole lot. And I know it seems like I don't get back to you in time, but sometimes I get really buried by the emails, and I have to get to them as I can. And I try to do it in order to be fair to people, instead of skipping over, unless there's an emergency, of course. I will just get right to that person. It's hard to talk about this. There's reporting. There's spreadsheets galore. You have to be able to do the accounting, the Quicken program, and Excel, and I'm kind of losing it here, what I want to say about it. I'm sorry. I've been sick for a little while, so I'm having a little trouble here. Just give me a second.
So Carla, in that role, you do need to have a bookkeeping or accounting background, or do you?
Yes, I think we
Okay.
absolutely do have to have that. Although one thing that I heard Kathy say is that you it would be good if you found a way to do it the way you want to do it. But I don't know how you could do that. It's already kind of a process in place. Unless you hold the position for a couple of different terms, you may have a way to move it into the way that's more comfortable for you. But at first, in the first term, there's no way to do that, I don't think, because there's just too many things that are kind of laid out, and it's so much to manage that you can't change it as you go along. Um, Also, you have to watch the mailbox really closely because it comes to your house. I did think about getting a post office box. I don't know if that was a good decision not to do that, but lots and lots of funds come through the mail, and so I go to the to deposit them 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on the amounts that I receive, because I don't want to hold on to those. Um, Personally, that's what I do. You have to be on a 30-day schedule so that the databases all match up together. And so when things don't come in the way you want them to, you have to have a system for managing that, because the data might be for September, but you don't get it till November. And so you just have to have a strategy to manage things that are unexpected.
So
I'm trying to,
Carla,
yes.
Carla, so Jackie has been value to you in terms of having her sharing her past experience and her systems and records. Is that
Oh,
correct?
Jackie is golden. And actually, she's golden to all of you because she's made such a strong relationship with everybody. I think she served 3 terms, if I'm not mistaken. And that's incredible. And so she's just, she's, because if anything ever comes up, the first thing they say, well, Jackie. So she's made all the relationships that you were talking about, Kathy. And she's got a wonderful disposition, and just there was no way possible that there's no way possible that I could do anything without her. So I'm glad you brought her up. Um, I keep losing this description of what I'm supposed to be talking about. It keeps falling off my phone. I'm sorry.
So
Um,
the tools that you need were identified for you. The methodology already exists, right?
yes, it
The
does.
process. Okay. Okay.
The process is there. Um, you have to be proficient with the programs, um, Excel and Quicken, and all the different the
Which are probably those are probably applications that you're going to be familiar with if you are in if you're in the bookkeeping accounting realm, which again are the skill sets that you probably need for that position.
yes, definitely do. And I just what's wonderful about this position is that um, I really feel like I'm serving the Lord and an organization like this, so that people will be able to help, um, like the clients of Lucio Reigns. If you see where the work is leading to, the physical manifestation of it, it makes it so worth it and so beautiful. So while you're sitting here typing or doing this, look where it leads. Look where the children are being taken care of, the mothers are being taken care of, the people in prison are being taken care of. So it just feels like almost like a sacrament to be doing this work, so that things will be enabled and you see the result of it in real time.
Thank you. So it's gratifying in that way.
It
Thank you,
is.
Carla. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to move on to our coordination coordinator. Or pardon me, communications coordinator. And I think, Jackie, you have a video to share.
I do.
Okay.
I'll share my screen here in just a moment.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Margaret Dennis, and I am a current district communications coordinator and an incoming conference communications coordinator. First off, I'm so sorry I'm not live there with you today, but I am thrilled that I have the opportunity to at least get my message to you this way. The role of communications coordinator is so important. We really are a vital link between our members and the information. We can have tons of great programs, but if our members don't know about it, it won't matter. So what exactly does the role entail of communication coordinator? It's going to vary quite a bit depending on what level you're working with. The role at the local level might revolve around making sure that members and your pastors know all that's going on at the district, conference, and national levels. It might be making sure that those who want to are signed up for emails and the digital platforms, etc. Maybe it's putting out a monthly summary of everything going on. But it can also be communicating in the other direction, making sure that the districts know what's going on at your unit level, and so that the districts can help spread the word and invite others to participate. Local unit communication coordinators can also be the liaison to the greater community, sharing fundraisers and events and more with those outside your church community. The role of communication coordinator at the district level is typically a bit more complex. Traditionally, we have done at least a quarterly newsletter for distribution to all members in the district. And the role here involves making sure that all officers submit an article or pertinent information to you so that you can then compose a newsletter. But it also can encompass more if you so choose. For example, for my district, I decided that a quarterly newsletter was not frequent enough, given the amount of information and activities and opportunities going on in United Women in Faith at all levels. So I decided to put out a monthly newsletter, but I did not expect officers to submit anything unless they had something to share. However, that did mean that it was on me to pull the information from all the sources that I had access to that I knew not everybody in the district had access to. So with this monthly newsletter, I also was more active in soliciting information from the local units, so in case they wanted to share events going on with the rest of the district. So let's talk briefly about how we communicate. Depending on your comfort level with technology, as well as your knowledge of your particular audience, how we communicate can vary. I certainly encourage everyone to use digital media as much as possible, both because of the savings financially, as well as to the environment with paper and postage. But there are varied digital options such as personal email, church email or e-newsletter, Facebook. You also want to encourage all of your members to get involved with United Women in Faith Digital, which is basically Facebook without the negativity. I love it. A lot of great opportunities. So you might be thinking, well, I'm interested, but what resources am I going to have? Well, the best part is that you're going to have direct access to me. I am truly, truly happy to provide whatever training is needed for you to feel comfortable in doing the job. I can help you learn, explore, and set up things to meet your needs and your audience. Additionally, district communication coordinators are going to have access to the conference constant contact account, and that's going to allow you to send emails to large groups of people, such as all the members in your district. Another question that a lot of you might be having is, well, how much of a time commitment does this role require? A lot depends on how you structure the role. In all cases, you do become an integral part of the leadership team, so you will need to attend any leadership meetings at whatever level you're talking about, either local or district. The new districts, I know, are still sorting things out, but I suspect many meetings will be virtual. Your district will determine how frequently you meet, but at a minimum, it will be quarterly, 4 times per year. In addition to attending those leadership team meetings, you will need to gather the information to share. That might be asking fellow officers to contribute articles. That might mean signing up for various emails and then choosing what your audience might appreciate. Editing the newsletter can be as simple or as complex as you choose. It can be something from a simple Word document to using something more complicated with more graphics. It really is what you feel comfortable with. And again, I am happy to show you some of my favorite tools to help you determine what works best for you and your audience. And to be honest, the best things that you really need to have, the skills that are required to be a communications coordinator, are passion, organization, and the willingness to learn new skills. I hope you'll consider it. If you want to talk some more, just get a hold of me and I can go over some things with you. Thank you so much for your time.
That was great. And so, although she did speak at the district level, the district, that role for the district and that role for the conference parallel one another. So virtually everything that was said there, including the frequency, the quarterly frequency of the news publication and soliciting articles for that, all apply to the conference level as well. And so now we'll turn to the chairperson of the Committee on Nominations.
I have tried to get this so that I can show myself, but once I've gotten this stuck in, I can't do that. So maybe sometime during this coming year, I will be able to do that. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rita Gaither Gant, and I serve as the chair of the Committee on Community Nominations. I want to make sure that everyone knows that we are committee on nominations and not the nominations committee. I hear that a lot, but National changed our name several years ago, and I think many people missed that. But the Committee on Nominations for me is probably, like everyone else has said, one of the most important roles within the organization. I say we're important because we help to shape the leadership team. It is our work that helped to bring these people to light. My work as the committee chairperson is one of communicating with each of our members what our tasks are for the year. And we start off with trying to come up with a pool of nominees for various positions. And I thought taking on this position that this would be something that would come very easy, but it has not worked so. But I need to work with each of the committee members to keep them informed of the positions that are open and the qualities that we look for in those positions. It has been very important for me to have good communication with my team members. That too has not panned out the way I had expected. I need people to reply to my emails, and I do a lot of emailing rather than maybe some other kinds of way of communicating with the team. But I think that communication helps us to stay on task, whatever those tasks may be at that particular time. We are open to work with the district communications committee on nominations person to help them to identify and promote leadership roles. We do have a national contact person that we communicate with on a quarterly basis, like most of the other officers. What I do, I receive the information as the chairperson from our national chairperson, Molly James Victory, something like that. She then sets up conference Zoom calls for our conferences. And this is a situation where all the people on the committee on nomination are invited to participate. And I just forward that information. And at the end, usually about a week, she will send me the recording, and I will send that recording to my counterpart. So even if my committee members, so if they missed what was going on at the meeting, they would be able to find out what happened. This past year, our second meeting, she was not able to send that information, but we did have like a summary of what's going on. One of the things that she has asked us to do is to set up a timeline of when we will do certain tasks. Like the earlier part of the year, we review the roles and responsibilities, and if necessary, we set up a timeline of where we're gonna collect the names, come together as a group, and then kind of sort out who will be responsible for contacting those individuals. I believe communication skills are one of the most important skills that you're going to need as a committee on nominations member, because it's up to us to get in touch with these people, to share what we need, and to get some feedback from them as to whether or not they feel they may have some interest, whether or not they want to move forward on that, or, reject us completely. It was my hope that we would be able to build a pool of names for potential leadership. That hasn't worked out very well either. I think as a member, as the chairperson of this committee, I am a member of the leadership team for the conference. And I believe on one of my reports, I turned in that the most difficult part for me has been that people are not willing to serve. So I do ask that those district members who are on this call will consider serving. We need people who have a lot of skills, and we need people who are learning. And that's the biggest thing that people have said to me. Oh, I can't do that. I don't have the skills. Well, we need people to be able to shadow the leaders to find out what's going on, find out what happens in those positions. But the willingness to serve has not been there. So I hope you will keep our committee in prayer as we move forward, so that we will have persons who are committed to serve. I have set up agendas for our meetings, and I will say to the members that, I really don't have that much to tell you, except that we have XYZ positions open, and I need your help in finding people. So please get back to me information about persons that we can contact. And I have had some people on the committee to get back with me. But one of the things that has been discouraging is the lack of feedback from committee members. You are a committee and you need to be able to collaborate with one another. I know the kinds of things I have in my head, and I will throw those out at meetings or on calls through email. But it's very important that people communicate back with you, even if it's just to say, I received your email. I really don't have anyone in mind for XYZ position, but I will get back with you. If I do, I will share with others. I will try to seek. This is the kind of thing that I need. It helps me. Just because I have asked you to do something, I'm not going to leave you there because I know the work must get done and it's the work of the committee. So I constantly ask people. People who know me from different times will tell you I have contacted them and asked them for names. But I do need committee members to be committed to the work of the committee itself. We basically will, like I say, meet quarterly. The first time we meet, we will set up a plan of the things that we will be doing throughout the year. And I think that way we can get things done. I came in very naive thinking that we were going to be done, in a few meetings. That did not happen. But we need, as a committee, to really have an understanding of the program of the conference and the responsibility for each office. And sometimes that may be a little difficult because, as been said, people do things differently. I don't have a problem with that. But trying to sometimes scale it in is kind of difficult to get across to the members. We want to ensure that the leadership of the conference reflects the diversity of the membership within the conference. We do have a form. It's called a volunteer form, and we have reworked. LaDonna and I worked on this form because we wanted to make sure that we had information on there that was going to be vital to the committee when we gotten ready to contact people. And we do ask some things that will help us to make sure that the diversity within the conference leadership, as much as possible, reflects the diversity of the conference itself. Let's see. I would say that as a chairperson, one of the other things you need is to have some skills with technology. I don't do that very well. But I know people on the conference team who I can call. Jackie has been a person that I have contacted. Sheree has been a blessing when I have to get things there for publication. And I have asked LaDonna because I know she is very skilled in that. And I've gone outside and asked some people that I have worked with in the past who have been very open to assisting me. So outside of my committee, I have worked with other conference leadership positions to help me as the chairperson. I do have a plan that I will share later, a little kind of outline using some biblical background as to how we can work together. Trying to see. I do serve on the Mission U Committee and Racial Justice Committee. On Mission U, I found that we have opportunities to meet frequently to make sure that the work of the committee is done. On the Racial Justice Committee, I have been a part of answering surveys or being involved answering different questions and listening to different presentations set up through our national organization. I think
Rita, you would say though that you do get where there is a pretty substantial commit time, particularly for
yeah,
these committees, when it comes to any of the technology needs, report submittals, that sort of thing, where technology might be a constraint. You have found considerable support among the other leadership in helping you get your job done.
yeah, I
Great,
have,
great.
like I said, you and Jackie, LaDonna, my good friend Barb
Yeah,
helped
well,
me to work to get some things done.
good. Well, the one thing I heard you say was that when asked, you often will hear people say that they don't have the skills. And I guess to that, I would say, I think there is a misconception sometimes that you have to know and be able to do it all. But
One of
to
the things that LaDonna said very early on, when you take on a position, there is training available for you. Training that you had no idea that was available. And I don't want people to think that to be held back because they don't feel that they have the right training for the position. We do offer training.
there's
And
training for the position, but in addition to where there's specific, I mean, yes, there's training for the position, but if there's a requirement that or if there's a need that you have to know how to work with spreadsheets or how to do publishing and that sort of thing, or put together PowerPoint presentations, that sort of thing. There's no expectation that you're going to come in and be required to learn all of that.
yeah,
Resources to help you get there and to help you produce that stuff is available among the team. I mean, we all have various skills and we support one another. So I think that's an important takeaway from any of these positions. Probably the only exception to that is the treasurer position, where you have to come in with professional knowledge of bookkeeping and accounting. But I think the rest of the positions, you don't have to know it all. You don't have to come in knowing every application that that you may necessarily need to be able to do your job. There's someone who can assist you in that regard. So,
yes.
okay,
And
Rita, I know you're going to come back at the end and do an appeal. So we want to go ahead and move on to the rest of our positions. But thank you, and I know you'll be back at the end of our program. So our next position is, so we've gone through the 5 positions that are required. So now we want to go through those ancillary positions, and we're going to move through those very quickly. So we're going to ask people to be succinct so that we can get through all of the positions, touch on all of the positions, and then do our closing. So the next position, actually, Stacy and I tag team on. And so we kind of modeled that approach for the conference, and there may be an opportunity to do that same thing with some of these other positions. So the VP position, which is the program coordinator, we did this year as a co-position. So I'll just jump in and really quickly say a little bit. And Stacy, if there's something that you want to say on this, you can. Very simply, the VP position, the program coordinator, is basically a glorified party planner. So if you've ever done any party planning for the kids, if you've done event planning for the Easter pageant at church, the Christmas play, you've helped organize a school party for your kids at school. I know my grandkids, we used to have the old parties. They've gone miles ahead of that now. I went to a carnival with my grandkids where they had ponies and all kinds of rides and all that kind of stuff. So they're certainly doing some extravagant things anymore. But all the same work, I'm sure, went into that. And so that's the skill set that you bring to that you need to be a VP. It is, if you've done any party planning, you can do the VP position. So it's just getting the venues. It's the things that you would think about. It's getting the venues, the contracts for the vendors or the caterer, the hotel. Organization is what you need for that position. So, I mean, I'm an engineer. I work with numbers all day long, but I'm also somebody who's organized. So I use spreadsheets in my job. I do time management and project management. And so VP came very natural to me because it's an extension of what I do all day long at work, right? And so if you've got that kind of a meticulous skill set, you could do this job. It is really just activity management. And I'm sure those guys were like pulling their hair. The rest of the planning committee was pulling their hair when we came time to do annual celebration because I applied that time management. You guys got 10 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever, to get through your parts of the program. So that's really what's required for the VP position. You don't really have to overthink it. If you can do organization, you can do that role. In terms of the time requirement, as kind of like what you've heard over and over again, LaDonna kind of started down that road. It is seasonal, very much contingent upon what time of year it is. So for the VP position, the biggest part is going to be the biggest time crunch is going to be probably September leading into annual celebration, that annual celebration meeting. Um, and then you're gonna, I mean, it's September is pretty heavily laden with work associated with putting together that program. The rest of the year, it's pretty, it's pretty low. There are some work that I do with the spiritual growth coordinator for the retreats. So on average, maybe, I don't know, 6, 7 hours in the entire month during the months of those events for helping to put together flyers and working on getting the venue squared away, that sort of thing. But that's pretty much it. There are the quarterly reports that go in for the news articles that go in for the newsletter. There are the maybe 3 times, I think it's 3 times a year, we have a meeting of the planning committee. And we're putting together the calendar of events for the conference, and all of the parties who comprise the planning committee. So it's the leadership team, bring to those meetings their ideas, their dates for events, and the VP is responsible for putting together and getting that calendar out in circulation via our communications coordinator and our president. So I think that is what comprises the VP position for the most part. Again, skills, what's required there is really just organization, right? And that comes from a lifetime of experience. And if you've got kids and you've worked with the PTO and that sort of thing, then you've got the right skill set. Stacey, is there anything that you want to say about that position?
Well, Sheree did ask me to come on as her co-VP this for the past couple of years, and I will say it has been pretty smooth because Sheree is just that, a planner. I'm also a planner, and I'm also very meticulous about some things. So, it kind of worked well together. Um, and she's right. If you plan things out far enough ahead, you get the dates and stuff as to what you're going to do and when you're going to do it and where you're going to do it. Then as you get closer to that date, it's when you really start doing the extra hard work, if there is any, as far as putting things together. And you have resources. That's the best part. You have resources. You have someone that you can say, can you put a flyer together? Or you have, maybe that could be your communications person, or it's somebody else. I need a Zoom meeting. That could be also between your IT person or, again, your communications person. So you look at your resources and just don't think that everything has to be on your plate and that you have to do it yourself. So I think that's one important element in any position is to take a look at your resources and don't be afraid to ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. And like Sheree said at the beginning, we're not looking for super leaders, just super people that want to lead. So uh, other than that, I think what Sheree has said has been right on and on spot. If you like to plan, if you like to party, if you'd like to and have the control of how the way things go as far as your planning and where you want to go and what you want to do and when you want to be there and the time you want to be there and the date you want to be there. This position is for you.
Thanks, Stacy. Okay, so we'll move on to our mission coordinators, and we'll start with spiritual growth. Cheryl? There we go. You're on mute, Cheryl.
There, is that better?
That is.
Thank you. I'm Cheryl Wilson, your spiritual growth coordinator. And one thing that's not been mentioned, I think, with our leadership positions is the great friendships that you develop. I've really appreciated, because of my involvement with United Women in Faith, of getting to know women around the state, and that's really been a blessing to me. Our number one thing when we talk about the purpose of United Women in Faith is to know God and to experience and share the freedom that can be found through Jesus Christ. So a spiritual growth position is to make sure that we always keep God and his plans for frontmost in what we're doing as leaders. We have a lot of busyness that we do with all of our meetings and our fundraising and our events. But if Christ is not first in it, then we are just like any other humanitarian organization, which United Women in Faith have existed for 156 years. So God has been faithful, and it's because we keep him first in what we do. So the spiritual growth coordinator is to be sure that in all of our events that they're bathed in prayer and we seek God's guidance. It's not a required position on the district or local level, but it is a required that someone makes sure that all people work together to make sure that God is kept first. So we lead every meeting, every small meeting, every tiny committee meeting. Every time we gather, we need to start with prayer. And on the conference, probably the district level, that often falls to the spiritual growth coordinator. And often she is asked to lead in a small devotion before the meeting. At the conference level, the spiritual growth coordinator works closely with the VP and the rest of the leadership team to prepare for the retreats. And we have 2 spiritual growth retreats, one in the northern part of the state, one in the southern part of the state. And we just finished our silent retreat down at Sardo House at Evansville, which is a very beautiful time that God's presence is always there. We are asked to present an article for the Mission Messenger, which is about 4 times a year. Often that can be related to our response to events that's going on in the world, or related to themes maybe from the retreat, or something that God's really laid on your heart. The spiritual growth coordinator is part of the leadership team. She serves on the planning committee, and she's involved in Mission U. So it's a team effort. The other great thing about United Women in Faith is leadership development. So you come in as a person willing to serve, and then through your teammates and through training and through God's wisdom, you develop into a leader.
Thank you, Cheryl. And now LaDonna is going to speak to our social action.
So our social action coordinator, Lori Chambers, is, I don't know, she's busy doing some United Women in Faith thing. I don't know what that's all about. But anyway, see, that's some of that sarcasm that doesn't come out in AI very well. But Jackie, can I screen share?
Yeah, and then I also want to mention Lori did share a quick video with me this morning. So if you
Oh,
want to
okay.
speak to it, and then I can play the video.
Okay.
And she's at the Holiday Bazaar. I'm here with her conference.
Well, you know, United Women in Faith, they're always busy. So I'm going to share. I got a bunch of things open. I got to find out where I'm at. One of the things that keeps coming out is the fact that there are tools available. And one of them, let me move things around here. One of them is actually on the UnitedWomenInFaith.org website. When you first log in, you see what you're seeing, you should be seeing now, which should be the main screen for UnitedWomenInFaith.org. Up in the right-hand corner, it says member login. It's a free login, but it gets you deeper into some of the tools. So because I can never remember my passwords, I've saved my password so I don't have to look it up. So once you get into what's called the member portal, then you can get into all the resources at a little bit deeper level than what is on the regular website. And one of those is the officer resource page. And if you scroll down, you eventually get to a screen that looks like this, which gives you all the roles and responsibilities. You can, for some of the, I don't like the word, that it's not a required position. Yeah, but I don't know what else to call it. And I can't always pronounce ancillary or whatever it is.
Ancillary.
There you go. See, get the emphasis on the wrong syllable. But these extra positions help us fulfill the promise, the purpose. One of them we're going to look at is the social action, if I can get everybody to move out of my way here. Oh, well, here. So this is the job description for the social action coordinator. And it really lays out what at the national level it should be happening at the conference level. And again, remember, all of these positions that we're talking about all morning have a staff liaison at the national level. So you're not just sort of out there all by yourself, but all kinds of instructions on what the job is. So be aware that if you get a phone call from Rita and she says, would you consider whatever position, you can go in and figure out what that position means, what the responsibilities are. So this is one way, going back to the original page, it's one way of finding out just exactly what goes on in United Women in Faith. This is the member portal off of the United Women in Faith website. But there's also United Women in Faith Digital, which is a different resource. So just be aware there's two different things. Both of them are free, but this is a way to get to the information quickly. So if you want to, I will stop sharing. There you go. And if you want to show the video, go ahead.
All right, give me a moment to get it going.
Hi everyone, my name is Lori Chambers. I'm Social Action Coordinator for the Indiana Conference, and I apologize for not being on Zoom with you today. I'm at my St. Luke's Holiday Bazaar, and it's a great fundraiser, and we make a lot of money for United Women Faith, so sorry I can't be with you. My major role is really as a Social Action Coordinator is to integrate our National United Women Faith priorities into our conference and down to our locals, and to advance our priorities. The priorities are climate justice, just energy for all, to advocate for cleaner and renewable energy, and ending mass incarceration, interrupting the school to prison pipeline, and the criminalization of communities of color. And what's coming up, one of my main responsibilities is to facilitate our Legislative Advocacy Day for our Indiana Conference. It's going to be on Zoom. We do this in partnership with the Indiana Church Women United. This year the event's going to be Thursday, January 15th at 9:30 to noon. Please save this date. Our virtual meeting will include topics from our priorities plus immigration and housing issues. It will be recorded, and so if you're not able to attend, I also want to start a social action team in the state and invite everybody who's interested in social action. I would love for all the social action coordinators throughout the state to connect with me, and we'll have some maybe monthly meetings to discuss what we can do to promote our social action priorities. The first meeting is going to be November the 20th, and I hope all of you now get my social action message. It's I put it in constant contact, and it usually goes out like once a month. But I will put a link in there if you would like to join us and help us promote the priorities throughout the state. Sorry again that I can't be in Zoom with you today, and thank you for your interest, and look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you.
Okay. So now we'll move on to education interpretation. And again, I would ask that everybody try and be succinct. So we do want to finish at noon.
Hello, I'm Ray Wallace. I am Education Interpretation Coordinator for the conference. The main activity of E&I is to promote the interpretation of mission giving and really push mission giving, and to support United Women in Faith missions. This is really something that's dear to my heart. I've always loved doing missions, and I really enjoy working with working with E&I. In a recent Zoom meeting that the national office had with treasurers and E&I coordinators, we were told mission giving is down 11%. Total pledges are down 14%. If this doesn't improve, we're going to have to cut some of the funding for our current projects. So we really need to push mission giving. Right now, there's 161 mission sites in 31 countries, which includes 90 mission sites in the United States. The big resource for E&I is your Response magazine. Every other year, my favorite issue is used to be February issue. Now it's March, April issue, where they go through all of the mission sites that United Women in Faith give to. And it's just great. You can't see that because of the light and stuff, but your Response magazine is wonderful. There's also articles in there every issue. And at the end of the article, if it has the two circles that are conjoined together, that means it's a mission today, or not a mission today. It's a mission project from United Women in Faith. Also, this position promotes World Thank Offering and Call to Prayer and Self-Denial. And we educate members about the deaconesses. We have 3 in Indiana. One who was on our program on our list this morning, Alicia Mitchell. We're glad to have Alicia. She's a deaconess from Indianapolis. Lisa Miller Monday is from Bloomington, and Beth Dehoff is our newest Indiana deacon. She's from Plainfield. So those are our 3 in Indiana right now. Without having E&I coordinators in each district, we need you presidents and other officers to have someone that's going to promote Mission Today units, and for the units to be able to turn in their forms to that person and then give them to me. They need to be collected the middle of January for 2025. But so we need someone in each district that's going to be responsible for that if you don't have an E&I coordinator. Also, E&I coordinates the youth and young adult service scholarships that the askings of $1 per member is used for. We work with the communications coordinator in revising new forms each year for both of those things. And we've already talked about, LaDonna did a great job of showing you the online United Women in Faith site. It's a wonderful information, and I really am thankful for the meetings that National Office has with the officers every few months. It really does help to listen to other people in other areas too. We reach out to members through Messenger, like to the districts and the units. This position also serves on the Board of Global Ministries. We meet, used to be once a month. Now it's about every couple of months. And serve on leadership team, program, finance, membership, and Mission U. The tools, just to be able to use the online resources. I am not a computer person. Our people that work with me know that, Sheree and and our technical coordinator, whose name is gone, who's a wonderful person, whose name has left me right this very moment. But no, I am not techie, but people will help you be techie. Skills and knowledge is just basically working with people, basic things on the computer, not a computer geek, which I am not. Time commitment, like everything else, it varies from, usually an hour and a half to write a Mission Messenger article to coordinating with the Youth and Young Adult Committee and the people that have applied. But it just kind of varies. But I love it. But if you do not have an E&I coordinator in your district, please let me know the name of a contact person that we can get our information from the districts. Thanks.
Thank you, Ray. Now we'll hear from Member Nurture and Outreach.
Hello, I am Carol Tiller, and I am the Membership Nurture and Outreach Coordinator for the Indiana Conference level. And at this role at the state level, conference level, I've been honored to be on the Lucille Raines board as well. Emailing and talking on the phone are the needed skills for this position. And the resources are available online, or also you're able just to call up for a national staff member to ask questions. Attendance is required at the quarterly meetings of the conference leadership team. 2 are Zoom, 2 are in person, and transportation housing is reimbursed. The annual conference should be in attendance. That's the first weekend in October, and for Mission U in the summer. At the district and local MNO coordinator positions, make sure each local turns in their number of members to Barb McCoy for the directory. And to work and share information with others who would like to be a member of the organization or to start a new unit. Women could be a member by either joining the national level at uwfaith.org to receive national news and events. Most of our members, though, are local or unit members by being part of a local group who usually meet in person or work on local activities. Cluster or district members are women who would like to receive Indiana conference and district news, but would not like to be active in a particular local unit. A woman may be a member even though they're not a member of a Methodist church. That is why United Methodist Women's name was changed to United Women in Faith. I am blessed to be a member of this close sisterhood, as was stated before, about the sisterhood who truly not only honor but act according to Christian values. For me personally, I had fellow UW Faith sisters who helped me I had eye surgeries this week, and it was my sisters who helped me by driving, being with me during the surgery, even staying afterwards, and even staying overnight and providing food. So this is why I said, truly, this organization has blessed me personally. So the closeness of our members, it really depends upon each of our members. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. And now our resources coordinator, Sarah. You're on mute, Sarah.
There we go. I'm sorry. My name is Sarah Mays, and actually, I'm your reading program lady. That's what I call myself anyway. My main emphasis is on the reading program, making sure everyone knows what's going on with the reading program, get all the resources to you all that you need. I know now we may not have the district or even the local resource coordinator. So if there is a person that I can be in touch with, please let me know. It just depends on, just like everything else, the seasons. Now in September, when we start getting ready for annual celebration, that's when I have to have, well, I try from like December or January, but it takes me until August at least to get everybody that is turning in their readers from their local and district units. So I have to take that, and then that's a pretty time-consuming thing, putting all those names and churches and everything in the computer and get it ready for the program book. But it's so great because as I've been in this position, I have seen it grow, that list grow and grow and grow. And I hope and pray all of us together, we have made this possible for it to grow. There's a lot of good books in the reading program. If you haven't ever looked at it, please look at it. I have learned so much from the reading program since I took it over as the resource coordinator. I have learned so much for social action, for spiritual growth, for all types of things. I do have a national liaison that I do work with. We have meetings twice a year. If you haven't ever done the reading program and you have no idea what it's about, the national liaison will walk you through things. They'll talk to you about the new daily prayer guides, the program books, and things like that. And I do meet with the conference, a part of the leadership team. I'm on the program planning committee, Mission U committee. And this year we did something new with Mission U. We had 3 books that National did down to us that we made a little Mission U book club, and two other people helped me with it. I did one book, and two other people did the other books. And we have had Zooms. Thank goodness for Jackie, because I'm not a techie person either. As you see, it doesn't take that techie person to have these positions. We have help everywhere. But Jackie set up the Zooms for me, and we have one more on November 10th. And we will have done all 3 books and everything. So that is something that was new this year. So we just started that, and it did okay. We're going to go. Hopefully they'll do the same thing next year and people will catch on. But as everyone else has said, it is so wonderful to have the sisterhood. All of these ladies are just like sisters to me. They're wonderful people. And that is one of the greatest things of being part of the conference leadership team. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And now our language coordinator, that role? Is Reverend Ashley on?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
I am the co-language coordinator along with Margaret Dennis, who you heard from. LaDonna, she's going to continue as co-language coordinator and communications Okay, just want to double check that. Okay.
Yep.
So, she and I are both bilingual, and we are attempting to connect with churches around the state of Indiana that have populations of people who speak other languages primarily. So there are several Korean churches, there are several Spanish churches, just trying to just let them know about United Women in Faith. A lot of people that come over from other countries or who are primarily steeped in another culture at home that are women are not, a lot of times we see that they're not really plugged into a community of their own. A lot of things are coming through their husbands and their families and their children. But we want to offer a place where they can be full, like bring their full selves to a space as women, and as women who are blessed and made in the image and likeness of God. So that's what we're doing. Let's see, last month or the month before, I hooked up with a group of individuals from Hispanic churches around Indianapolis, and we were talking about church planting and discussing how we might be able to integrate United Women in Faith units into those churches that are being planted, because the Hispanic church is exploding right now, especially with the Holy Spirit is really moving. Pastor Reyes is amazing. There's Pastor Leo from Cuba. There's a lot of wonderful things, Pastor Adina, that are going on in and around Indianapolis. But we also were talking about the individual needs that the immigrant community has right now, the specialized care that they need, and how we can stand together. So I'll be meeting with them once quarterly from now on, to see how we can help and see how we might be able to establish units in some of these church plants. So just that's pretty much what it's about. It is identifying churches that have different needs than our regular demographic, different linguistic needs, and sort of tailoring what United Women in Faith is to the needs of those particular communities. So,
all right. Thank you, Pastor Ashley.
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
wonderful that we are seeking opportunities to grow in those communities. So that's fantastic.
Yes, ma'am.
Our music coordinator, that position?
I'm coming.
Okay.
You see me now?
I see you, Bev.
Okay. Hi. Hi. My name is Bev Kennedy. My pronouns are she, her, and my position is music coordinator. And man, you just really have to love to sing. And you need to have a passion for Jesus for this job because you're singing all about Jesus Christ in the church. And we have lots of resources for that. So the things that the major events that I sing at are the annual gathering and the spiritual retreats and Mission U. And it's helpful if you can at least carry a tune. Otherwise, you need to be able to rap really well or something like that, you know. Yeah. So, but seriously, I mean, you don't have to be a professional singer or have that type of knowledge. You do not have to be a great soloist or anything. Any music background you have really can help. But basically, you need to love what you're doing and standing up in front of people and leading songs. And you can even be an introvert. You know, I'm an introvert, but there's something about standing up in front of people and getting that interaction with others and being in worship that just drives me to a place where I wouldn't normally be able to go or to feel. It's all about passion and feeling. You use your whole body when you sing. You are enacting your brain with cognition, and there's lots of feeling involved, and that's a great outlet for me because I just don't do my feelings very well otherwise. And you know, you're moving, and you don't even have to raise your arms and direct people, but just to be present and to interact with the people is really important. Let's see. It is I used to think I was really techy, but you know, I know enough to be dangerous. And once you start learning about technical things, there's that much more to learn. So there is help out there, and I'm very reluctant to ask for help, but you know, eventually I do. I actually got on the digital platform just this week. And I had not been able to access that the almost 2 years that I've been in this position. So I'm so grateful that I downloaded the app and I eliminated one of my accounts and it just popped up. And I was like, holy cow, that's great, you know, thank God. So there are tools that you can use. And the biggest one that I use is United Methodist Hymnal. And the second one that I use the most is The Faith We Sing. Now, I have some different versions of that one. And there are also, we use a different hymnal at our United Methodist Church. And you can use whatever you want. And I try to fit I choose the songs and I try to fit them with whatever theme we're doing, or at least some of our priorities within the United Methodist Women or the United Women in Faith. We've been doing hope a lot. And I know we're going to move into things about light with this next series that we have. Let's see, what else can I tell you? When it comes to Mission U, you don't necessarily choose the songs. That's more the worship leader's position or the person in charge of the plenaries, but you can work with them you definitely need to work with them to find out which songs they want you to use and to get the lead sheets from national, which you'll have to go through the dean or the worship leader to get that. Anyway, I can go into more details with that when someone, you know, when I'm ready, when we need a new person, and you can actually have as many people working at this as you want. You're also responsible I'm also responsible to find someone to have the music. I have to come up with the lyrics, have someone play the music, or you at least need, if not a pianist, maybe a praise team, or even a pitch pipe will do, which means you could do it a cappella if you're so inspired and you feel comfortable doing that. but there are lots of different ways you could go on that, and I like to involve the people at the church where we're going to. I haven't done that too much, but I did that the last time and got part of a praise team to help out with me, and that was a blast. That was a lot of fun, and they even were able to type up the lyrics for me, because that's the thing I probably spend the most time on that I like doing. I like doing it, but I don't want to spend all my time doing that, and I would prefer that someone else can do that so I can spend more time on practicing the music, learning the music. And for Mission U, you'll be learning new songs, or at least things that we don't necessarily do. And the hardest part about that is when you don't have a resource like the United Methodist Hymnal, or you have to go and find the music and find it for your pianist or whoever you use. Then you have to be pretty savvy sometimes on the internet with that. And I found out this year we can purchase music, but sometimes it's just better to download a program. I think in the future, if I keep doing this, I might get onto something like that to help me find where I can purchase music or at least use it. I do have a YouTube Premium, which helps an awful lot, because then I can play the songs while I'm using my phone for other things and learn it that way. I learn as well by listening and by rote as I do by looking at music, and sometimes papers just get in my way and takes away my passion.
But it does sound like there's a lot of resources out there for you.
There really are.
Which is good.
You need to look for them. You can share this role, okay?
And you do, because you do bring in other support. So you bring in your pianist a lot of times. And I know that Jackie, even if you can't have a pianist or you don't want to do it a cappella, there's instrumental versions of songs and things that you can get too. And I know Jackie is quite adept to pulling in those YouTube videos to help in that regard too.
That's right. You could even mic it on your phone.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, this is the most blessed position ever. I mean, I have loved this. It's a privilege. I wanted to do this for a long time, and I'm so glad to be doing it now.
And it shows, and it shows in how you do it. So.
And I've had some pretty tough times, and this group has helped me through that. And
that's what we do. I hear that over and over and over again. That is what we do, support one another.
Yeah.
All righty. Thanks, Bev.
Thank you.
So we are going to have our technology specialist speak first, and then we'll end with our Legacy Fund coordinator, who will make also her appeal to leadership. So Jackie, if you want to go next, and we've just got about 10 minutes left. So, and I want to make sure, the engineer in me wants to make sure that we end on time.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can.
We'll go quickly as possible. All right, so I'm the technology specialist for conference, and key responsibilities, like many people have mentioned already, setting up Zoom meetings for conference. I also set up meetings for district and Lucille Rains. So I just get emails and asking to get those set up, and I'll do that. I host Zoom meetings for conference events like Legislative and Advocacy Day, today's training event. We've also have had other special events like book studies for in-person events. I worked with on-site venue people to make sure that the audio and visual aspects are available to us, like the microphones, being able to display the PowerPoints, making sure our videos are playing properly. And then, in relation to those events, assembling PowerPoints and running the PowerPoints at those events, mainly at Annual Celebration and Mission U. I also maintain our conference YouTube channel, where I'll put out videos that we record, virtual events, make those available. We've also have made them available on a podcast site called Spreaker, audio in that way. The Zoom meetings, some of these meetings can be recorded to the cloud, so providing the cloud links to people for these Zoom meetings. And also at times I'm asked to provide Google Drive folders sharing, and then also adding documents to our Facebook account. Key events that the Legislative Advocacy Day, like I mentioned, Mission U, Alien Celebration, November training, any other little things that pop up in the meantime. Key skills, being able to set up the Zoom meetings. We can't have concurrent meetings, so I have a personal Zoom account that I need to use at times so that we can have concurrent meetings happening. Computer skills, creating, editing, running PowerPoints, using YouTube Studio, Google Drive, Dropbox. I've also had to learn how to edit audio and video files. I had to do that when we were during the pandemic. I was doing that a lot. Utilizing United Women in Faith Digital and understanding all the capabilities of being a Zoom host. Other key skills is patience, going with the flow, communicating with others, speakers, presenters for our these events. So just a lot of things that I had to learn. Zoom has a lot of tools that you'll need. Zoom has a lot of videos that you can watch if you want to learn more about Zoom. There's a lot of videos on YouTube. United Women in Faith has a Chief Technology and Social Media training section. So if you want to learn more, they have a lot of information out there about hosting a virtual event, utilizing Google Drive, Doodle scheduling, Grammarly. There's also we have the digital program books. And so they show you how you can run a program on United Women in Faith Digital. I did that for my local unit when I was president. So there's a lot of tools out there, and you can do a lot of practicing on your own. I practice on my own a lot with Zoom, utilizing the tools, making sure they're working properly for me before I host an event live. Time commitment, depending on the event, it just really depends. So annual celebration is like one of the bigger events. I have a PowerPoint template, so I don't have to recreate from scratch. I just use the template. And year over year, I just update, who's speaking and all the bits and pieces. So I try to make it easier for myself. Coordinating with people. Sometimes I do have to go on site. So for Mission U or for annual celebration, I might have to go prior to the events on site to see how everything's set up and talk to the people there. Or if I'm not doing insight, it's just, coordinating by email or phone. And then, yes, the role can be shared. There's a lot of things that I do that can be shared by other people. And I've had to have help during the year. I wasn't able to attend Mission U this year, so other people were able to fill in for me at that event. And Margaret was very kind to be my second during our celebration. If I wasn't well enough to attend, she was there. She said she would be there to do everything, and she was there by my side during the event as well. People can, create PowerPoint slides and send those to you. You can also have people co-host Zoom, so you don't have to do everything on your own. So I work with everybody on my leadership team. I've enjoyed doing it. This is my first year officially doing it, but I've been doing this role for several years. So I've enjoyed working with everybody. Everybody's been super wonderful to me this year with everything going on with me and checking in and helping me out. And I've appreciated the sisterhood. So thank you again.
And we've appreciated you. Thank you, Jackie. Okay, so we're going to close out with the Legacy Fund and Rita. She'll be the last position that we talk about. Rita, you've got 1 minute, because I do want, I'm going to refer back to LaDonna to say the final word. So you're going to have to go very quickly.
Ladies, I represent the Legacy Fund, and I just want you to remember, we are an organization that's 56 years old, I'm sorry. And we did not get there by happenstance. It has taken the work of each one of us and our predecessor members to keep this organization going. And I appeal to you to become a part of Legacy, even if you're just making a contribution once a year of $18.69. I can help you get that done by sharing envelopes or a website that you could go to make a donation. Remember who we are. We are women who inspire, who influence, and who make an impact. We are probably the largest organized women organization in the United States and around the world. Remember that, share that with others, let them know that we work hard in turning our faith, hope, and love into action on behalf of women, children, and youth around the world.
Thank you, Rita. And then, so LaDonna, if you want to say a few final words, and then that'll conclude our morning session.
I've got a great big sign that tells me to unmute myself, but I'm already unmuted.
We hear you.
So like you could give somebody a birthday present, right, Rita? $18 and yeah, I don't think I'm 18 anymore, but closer to 69, whatever. Anyway, okay, so we are back this afternoon. I'm going to share screen here a minute. She said, optimistically looking at her screen. There you go. And then I'm going to... So here's some information for you. We're going to leave this on, I assume. Come back this afternoon to the same URL. There's the URL for the member portal and for digital. We'll talk a little bit about that later. Handbook is a really handy thing to have because it gives all the rules and regulations, and it changes every 4 years. So just because you have a copy doesn't mean you have a copy. Mission Messenger, if you're not getting it, send an email to that email address and we'll get you on the mailing list. We have we actually have 3 Facebook pages, one general, one limitless, which is aimed more at younger members. And then we also have one for Indiana Mission U that I forgot to put on there. Remember the 5 channels of giving, they still apply. Here's the threefold sort of brochure. There's the other 3 of the 5. Priority issues that Lori mentioned, racial justice, the Interrupt the School to Prison pipeline, and the climate justice, excuse me. Don't forget we own and operate Lucille Raines residence. So bear that in mind. And don't forget to register for assembly. So we'll be back this afternoon, correct, Sheree?
We will. And so we thank all of our members who were here, who are not in leadership, and invite you to consider leadership in the future. Again, if you're interested in anything that you heard, if anything piqued your, oh gosh, that sounds like it might be something I could do, we implore you to explore it. There are opportunities to shadow. You can go online to the online resources and get additional information, but reach out to your leadership team and avail yourself of the opportunity that exists to at least sample some of what it is that we're doing and put your skills to use for United Women in Faith. So we are back this afternoon, leadership team, incoming leadership, existing leadership, district level, conference level, local is welcome as well. And then we will break into our respective individual groups to talk and learn about the individual roles. So enjoy your lunch. And we will see you back. And as LaDonna says, you'll use the same link that you used this morning to return this afternoon if you are in leadership or incoming leadership. That's all I have.